Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Reborn as a Goku clone. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name in the description below. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 1. Who am I? Am I Jordan? A gifted young man that squandered his talents, content to lace his life away and pursue his meager interests? A man whom detested effort if it wasn't advantageous to him in some way or form. Someone who always looked for a shortcut to goals he set for himself. A man that knew his biggest faults, but was too lazy to change after the way he had to turn his entire lifestyle around years previously due to an illness. Or am I Goku? A happy-go-lucky teenager always on the search for more training and stronger opponents. A naive boy who saved the world already at a mere 13 years of age and would someday go on to become the greatest protector of his universe. Or could I be Kakarot? A young scion toddler who never got the chance to live his life. Jettisoned away from everything he knew, from his mother, father and older brother in order for his life to be saved. Only for that life to be cut short with a harsh fall and painful injury to the head, resulting in the birth of the one known as Goku? I suppose this one would be best, wouldn't it? But for now I think I'll just rest my eyes a bit and enjoy the pleasant haze of darkness around me. Doll, it's time to wake up now. A soft, pleasant voice roused me from my slumber. The earth needs your assistance. I blinked my eyes open groggily, spots appearing in my vision. The darkness I'd been submerged in for so long slipped away and light invaded my vision. When the spots faded away, I saw him standing above me. My creator, I suppose? Mr. Popo staring down at me with wide, unblinking genial eyes. In a way, it almost felt surreal to see him standing before me. I have 3 separate sets of memories, and one of those sets believes the black genie and the universe he comes from to be nothing more than fiction. I should be even less real than him and the others. There was a reason he called me doll after all. I stood up from where I found myself laying, a soft white quilted bed situated in the middle of a bright stone-walled room, one small window with no window allowing a soft light to trickle in and alight the room. The stiffness I felt in my body was almost unbearable. How long had I been laid upon that bed? The last I remember was that I was put to sleep after the original finished his training with me and went on his journey to the past. Still, I scowled at the attendant of Kami. Don't call me a doll. I near snarled. Aggressive of me. A byproduct of my choice, I'm sure, of who I would become when the 3 sets of memories collided within my head. Oh my! Popo gasped, taking a step back in what seemed to be surprise at my tone. How extraordinary, you seem to have already developed sentience immediately upon awakening. Sentience. Meaning I'm alive, right? Why though? The memories I inherited tell me that my existence should have faded after Son Goku completed his training with Kami. Why do I live? I asked Popo, cutting straight to the point. Odd, you're very much different from Goku despite being a perfect copy of him, Popo pointed out before smiling at me. To answer your question though, once Goku completed his training, Kami tasked me with collecting the Dragon Balls and bestowing true life upon you in case the day ever came when the Earth would need a hero once more. I just didn't think you'd need to be awakened so soon. He's right, this is odd. I can understand keeping me around for that reason, but why would I be needed when Goku was around? I can see where time differed and my existence remained. I have memories of training with Goku as his opponent off and on for around a year, although I was only awakened for fighting him and remember only hearing Popo comment on it being a year just before I was put back to sleep for the last time. Either Goku lost to Piccolo at the World Martial Arts Tournament or something along those lines has occurred and Goku is dead. It must be early on to a degree though, because with my current strength by time the Saiyan saga was finished I would be twice as weak as even the likes of Kaiotsu and Yajirobe. I felt my lips pull up into an angry snarl, as I am now I'm complete fodder to even a Cyberman. Shameful, simply shameful. My father would be so ashamed of my weakness. Even mother was stronger than me and she wasn't even a warrior like myself. I'm maybe around a quarter the power of a Cyberman. Son Goku was estimated to have a power level of around 260 when he fought King Piccolo. Comparing my strength to the memories I have of that fight, I should be around the 350 mark by estimating my current power with the strength I had then, but I'll need a scouter to measure it fully. Now that I have answered your question, Popo spoke up, breaking me from my thoughts. What should I call you, or shall I give you a name? There's no need, I replied, stretching the kinks out of my body. You can just call me Kakarot. Popo gasped again, and I had to hide a smirk that threatened to split my face. That reaction alone told me enough. And from the 6 powers I feel on the lookout, all weaker than my own and one I recognized as Kami, I know when I am exactly in the timeline. I chose to become Kakarot. I couldn't be Goku, for he already existed and I refused to play second fiddle to him. I couldn't be Jordan either, despite the massive amount of information I gained thanks to his memories. People would question where the name came from. It was just simply much easier to be Kakarot than either of the other two, and I'm perfectly fine with being Kakarot. You know my scion name, I pointed out in lieu of his reaction, but while I've gained the memories the original lost, it's unlikely he ever did. So what's going on? I prodded. Remarkable, it didn't even occur to me during your creation that you would even retain the memories he lost, the genie said. As for what happened, your brother Raditz came when a fight broke out between Goku and him. Both were killed during the battle, and now 2 more, much stronger scions are coming and will arrive within a year's time. A memory flashed before my vision. One of the few I have from the gestation period I had during my time on planet Vegeta. A smiling boy with a lion's mane of spiky black hair, gesturing wildly and boasting happily about his power level, 517, and he'd been chosen to form a squad with Prince Vegeta himself. A happy declaration that he would be sure to help me become just as strong when I was finally allowed to leave the pod I was kept in during my infantile years. I clenched my fists and banished the memory. Rage built in my chest, and I had to let loose a calming deep breath from my nose and delve deep into the meditation techniques I learned through the original to stop my ki from fluctuating outwards and destroying my surroundings. I cannot allow sentiment to cloud my judgment, especially when Jordan's memory showed me how Raditz turned out in the end. That caring brother was long gone, far before he ever fought the original and Piccolo. Instead, Goku must have gotten a lot stronger then, I said as if impressed. Raditz had a power level over 500 by the time he was 7 years old. With all the years he's had, he must have been closing in on father's strength. I cannot allow any of my future knowledge to be shown. I need to keep their suspicions off of me. I am unsure of how strong this father you claim is, Popo replied, but the information myself and Kami received tells us that the strength Raditz displayed had a numerical value of 1,500. I had to stop myself from sneering. Sure, Raditz spent most of his time on missions and in stasis, but he was 7 years older than the original, nearing his 30s, and he hadn't even tripled his power in all that time. The warrior in me was disappointed in him, especially because I know how simple it is for a scion to grow stronger. I snorted. He must have slacked off for years on end. You talk like that, but he was still much stronger than you are now. Popo input. I snorted. Not for long. I turned on my heel and began to make my way out of the room. Now come, Mr. Popo, I suppose I should meet with the others before getting down to training. Left unsaid was the fact that I won't be training with them. They won't be able to keep up with what I'm planning right now, especially if Corinne has a good stock of senza beans. The second I walked out of the lookout residence and onto the large outdoor area, all activity ceased. The 5 engrossed in training all froze in their tracks and turned towards me. Krillin was the first to react, breaking away from Tien and racing over. Goku! The bald monk cried, "You're alive! And you're so young again!" There were actually tears beginning to form in his eyes. Too bad I'd have to crush that joy forming within him, because I may have Goku's memories up until he was 13 years old, but I'm not Goku. Goku! Yamcha gasped, and Yajirobe outright tumbled backwards out of the cross-legged pose he sat in for meditation. Ah, Yajirobe, always good for a laugh. Thankfully, I didn't need to explain anything. Kami, who was standing a few feet from the entrance, spoke up. I'm afraid he is not the Goku you know, my friends. The Guardian of the Earth spoke up. He is a perfect clone created by Mr. Popo some years back that was used to help Goku during his training with me leading up to the battle with Piccolo. What? Krillin shouted, jerking back. He's a clone? I rolled my eyes. Yes, I'm a clone, idiot, I snapped. But I'm not Goku, just call me Kakarot, alright? That name. Krillin hissed. I rolled my eyes again. Yes, I'd heard you had a run-in with my older brother, I said drolly. Don't worry so much, Krillin, I'm a perfect replica of the original, meaning I even have the memories he lost as a toddler, memories about being a scion that he lost. You certainly talk a lot differently from Goku, that's for sure. Tien finally joined in on the discussion, having been silent up till now, a bit arrogantly too. My eyes lit up. Tien, perfect, just the guy I need, I replied. The others would be far too hesitant to do what I asked, but a former assassin like Tien should be able to help me out. I'm gonna need you to come with me, oh, and you as well, I told him, then added to that while pointed at Cammy. That said, I floated slightly up into the air by pushing Ki out from the bottom of my feet and hovered there for a moment. What, why? Tien asked in confusion. I must confess that I too am rather perplexed, Cammy added. Just come with me to Corinne's, I ordered. This will help out a bunch when the other scions come, trust me. It'll help me at least. A plan had already been forming in my mind the moment I woke up. With my knowledge of the future, I know how strong I need to become. I need to become at least strong enough to deal with Frisia so he can't get immortality, a daunting task, but it just made me excited at the prospect. You gotta love those scion instincts. I flew off without a second thought, dipping over the lookout in a moment and descending downwards to where I know Corinne's is. They may be Goku's friends, but they're not mine. I'm really not interested in getting chummy with them right now. Though I kept my speed light enough for the other two to catch up quickly. So what's this plan of yours? Tien asked as he got level with me, Cammy following in his wake. Scions are a warrior race, and we have a special ability, I replied. This is something Goku has forgotten. What kind of ability? Cammy asked. It's called the Zenkai boost, I replied. When a scion is injured, when we return to full health we gain a boost in power to adapt against what injured us in the first place. That explains so much, Tien gasped. It really did. Tien trained just as much, if not more so, than Goku did. Despite that though, he was only slightly stronger now than Goku was when he fought King Piccolo. And once he healed after that fight, he'd gained quite an increase in strength in comparison to where he was previously. Still, I'm not sure how this will work out. There are two main theories for Zenkai coming from Jordan's memories that I know of. One is that on average a scion only gets a 33% increase due to a Zenkai. Only very rarely do they get what is termed as a Super Zenkai and gain a multiplier boost, like how Gohan, Vegeta and Goku got stronger so quickly on Namek. Taking into account Goku's strength against King Piccolo and the strength I have now, alongside the very minor gains I got from training against Goku during his training under Cammy, then that one seems to be viable. On the other hand, there is a theory that Zenkai add more when a scion can feel a power so much stronger than their own. The stronger the power they feel around the stronger the Zenkai they get. An instinctive boost to fight against all possible threats that seems very viable as well. That could be troublesome. Popo is the strongest being on Earth right now. I sensed his strength the moment I woke up on the lookout and know that numerically it's at 1080. While I could reach that quickly in that sense, it would sliver down off as well after that. I see, Cammy said softly, realization clouding his wrinkly features. Are you sure about this? It's such a barbaric thing to do to yourself just in order to increase your strength. The upcoming pain didn't really bother me. What did bother me though was spending all my time constantly training. I'm not going to waste my life like the Goku did in the original timeline. There are plenty of ways to shorten the amount of time I need to train, and I'll take advantage of any and all of them. I wonder if King Yema's fruit really exist. I know they appeared in a few games besides the filler episode they were in, so it's possible. A couple of those could save me a hell of a lot of time and energy. There's no time to waste, Cammy, I replied. If a little pain helps us save the world then I'm fine with it. A moment later we touched down in Corinne's home. The tubby white cat was already standing at the ledge to meet us. Well, Corinne hummed, thumping his staff on the floor. It seems you're pulling out all the stops, aren't you, Cammy? He said, looking right at me. It cannot be helped, old friend, Cammy replied. I'm quite glad I did though, for it seems something has occurred that even I did not anticipate, and our young friend here has retained even the memories of the scion childhood that Goku lost. Oh, well, isn't that interesting? Corinne hummed one more in interest, so what can I do for ya? I stepped forward. Corinne, how many cents of beans do you have left over? I questioned, getting right to the point. I've only got 2 left from the last batch. That fatso Yajirobe keeps munching on them when I'm not looking. The cat wrinkled his nose as he replied, I started on a new batch the moment I sensed what happened to Goku. It'll take a good year for them to be ready though. As if by magic, he held up one white paw and a brown near empty-looking little bag appeared held within his grasp and held out towards me. Only 2, I clicked my tongue. The fat blob. If it weren't for him I could make stupid gains rapidly. I sighed deeply, it'll have to do. 1 for now and I'll use the other just before Nappa and Vegeta arrive, maximize my gains. I accepted the bag and grabbed 1 before tossing it to Tien. The bald man caught it deftly before staring at me seriously. Are you really sure about this? He asked, brow furrowed. I hesitated for only a moment before I replied, yes, I needed to test the Zenkai quickly and I needed to get stronger as quickly as possible. Pain was just a hurdle I have to deal with and overcome. I chose you Tien for a reason, because you're the only one who has the resolve needed to do this. The others would wimp out on me. Tien snorted, glad to be of service I suppose, he said dryly. I always liked Tien after he mellowed out, he wasn't anywhere near the hassle the others were to deal with. Goku might have been fine with it, but I'm pretty sure their shenanigans will annoy me quickly. I stepped up and stood just a few steps from the tall three-eyed warrior. Hit me with your best shot Tien, I told him, no trace of joking in my voice, don't hold back at all. In order for me to get the most out of this, you need to bring me as close to death as possible. A bright golden light erupted throughout the tower and all I felt was pain exploding from my abdomen. Chapter 2. The second I was healed up after Tien's attack and got Kami to make me some weighted clothes, I beat a hasty retreat and flew off from Corinne's tower. I couldn't really stay there right now and talk plans for a year from now on. I was pretty much an all-around jackass that didn't let the others get a word in edgewise and forced them to follow my tune, but it can't be helped. I need to think. I've got 3 different sets of memories from 3 different people. My head's throbbing with pain and running a mile a minute. The second I woke up and knew whom I was, all the information Jordan had on the Dragon Ball universe just flowed through my head. I was picking apart every little detail that came up and I could remember, and even now I could feel my breath coming in short, almost panicked gasps. The massive, invigorating increase in strength I found flowing through myself after my Zenkai did nothing to help alleviate my rising hysteria. The massive amount of weight on my body, slowing me down to almost a snail's pace while I flew, probably made it worse. It was a very hasty decision based on my memories of the weights Goku had when he fought Tien before Piccolo and the factor that on King Kai's planet they'd weigh 10 times as much, but I need to be alone for a little while and get my head on straight before I do something stupid. Or stupider even. 7,500 pounds in weighted clothing was a terrible idea. I hissed as my head gave a particularly nasty throb. It was so hard to focus on something specific with the mishmash of memories surging through me. It felt like just moments ago my mother and father sent me off from planet Vegeta before the ship's stasis mode kicked in and put me to sleep. After that, my mind went black not 10 minutes later after waking up to Gohan's smiling elderly face. Then started right up with waking up to him again, but feeling oddly displaced in my head because I couldn't remember, but I do remember it all. I forget. But I don't forget. Fuck. I howled in rage, thrusting my hand out and firing a crimson-red beam of energy through the air in frustration. What the fuck? What the hell? This is such bullshit. My head is fucking killing me. Clenching my fists, I roared and pulled on the utmost limits of my ki. My red aura sprang up around me like a living flame and I shot down through the air as fast as I could towards the first thing that caught my eye. A large boulder the size of a house. Despite the weight slowing me down to less than a tenth of what my speed should be, I descended hundreds of feet in a split moment and plowed my fist right through it as if it was butter. Despite the sting on my knuckles, it just made me angrier. Fucking pitiful. Why is it so fragile? I snapped a kick forward and tore my leg through the ground in front of me, digging up a massive trench, then threw a punch that kicked up enough of a wind current to tear another massive boulder out of the ground and send it flying through the air. And despite it all, despite this amazing power, despite the fact that I was easily twice as strong as my original counterpart Goku. I was completely and utterly fucking livid. My vision is practically tinted fucking red. Piece of shit. I howled once more in fury, my voice echoing throughout the plains around me. I stamped my feet hard enough to shake the ground and turned to one of the mountains around me. Why were there so many fucking mountains in this damn world? Crimson energy filled my hands and I thrust my hands out, one after another. Fuck it all. Just fuck everyone. A barrage of blasts left my hands, mowing down everything in front of me in a glaring red explosion that just continued to grow and grow as I fired blast after fucking blast. Vegeta. Frieza. Androids. Cell. Bew. All of them and who knows what fucking else. Every single damn one of the mad cunts, with a damn chip on their shoulder, all going to crawl out of the fucking woodwork and try to kill us all. The mountain range in front of me is insane. Why? This is such bullshit. What even is this? My mother, father, and brother are all fucking dead. Slaughtered by Frieza, and in my brother's case practically killed by my own fucking hands. My life, my fucking family, how did I even end up in this fucking clone body? I was just a normal fucking guy. My friends aren't even really my fucking friends, they're the originals. I'm just a fucking tool created by Cammy and Popo to save this useless fucking mudball that will happily turn on their saviors for an afro-headed fucking buffoon. Fuck this world. Fuck my life. Fuck it all. I screamed out into the open air. Ka. Me. Ha. Me. I pulled back, cupping my hands together and bright blue flaring between my palms, compressing everything I had left into this one technique, ha-ha-wa-wa. I thrust my hands outwards and from them exploded a gargantuan blue beam of annihilation, tearing the fiery leftovers of the mountain I had been aiming at asunder and rending the entire mountain range apart in a series of country-shaking explosions. I couldn't help it. Ha! I broke out into a series of large guffaws, ha-ha-ha-ha-ha-ha-ha-ha-ha-ha-ha. I laughed freely and madly, surrounded by a devastation that would look home in the depths of hell. Then I felt my eyes roll up into the back of my head and darkness was all I saw. I was roused back into consciousness by a sharp pain in my ribs. Fuck! I swore explosively, my torso jutting up and forcing me into a setting position. I was about to blow whatever annoyance hit me to kingdom come, but when I saw a tall pointy-eared green man scowling down at me with his arms crossed. Get up, I've got some questions for you. Piccolo ordered gruffly. I rolled my eyes and didn't bother. Piccolo is hardly much of a threat right now, not without charging his special beam cannon. From what I can sense thanks to that Zenkai I went through with the help of TN, Piccolo is a little bit less than half my current power. I'd say he could potentially be suppressing some of it, but this is just a few days after my brother got whacked by the original and green bean over here, so that sounds about right. The clothes weighing me down massively could be a problem, but I could just blast him out of existence, so there's really no need to fuss for now. What? I scowled at him. I'm kind of going through a freaking life crisis right now. Shouldn't you be off training the brat of the original or something right about now? Piccolo snorted, he's still struggling along, he's nowhere near ready yet for me to personally train him. I almost rolled my eyes again. Sure, Gohan learning how to survive himself in the wild is a good thing, but making him do it for months after he got it down is a waste of time. How long did Piccolo really train him for? 6 months or so if I remember right. And with Piccolo's boot camp, Gohan's official battle power had been 2,800. If he started training him after just 2 months, no doubt Gohan would break the 4,000 mark, and Piccolo himself would grow stronger with a stronger training partner, and would probably reach somewhere around 6,000, maybe a bit less. But regardless, they would have been strong enough to defeat Nappa, especially if Gohan went rage boost at some point. What I'm more interested in is you, Piccolo interrupted my thoughts, staring daggers down at me. I've already got a general idea of what you were thanks to gleaning information from that dried up old fossil on the lookout. What bothers me is how you got so much stronger than Goku so quickly. This Zenkai you spoke of with Kami and the three-eyed twit, why did it not affect Son Goku like it has you? Ugh, I really didn't want to speak about Goku right now. Because the closest that fool's ever truly been to death was against you, I didn't even bother to conceal knowledge I shouldn't know. I don't really care either way at this point, and science as a whole, above even being a warrior species, we're natural-born survivors. The stronger the threat around, the more we grow from the Zenkai. It just so happened that I could sense Raditz' power even while in stasis and remembered his strength. If the original had survived your attack, and got a sensu in time, he'd more than likely be even stronger than me right now. Admittedly, this is only a little theory of mine, with a few holes in it regardless to explain why Goku didn't explode in power early on despite the numerous injuries he got early on, such as against Tao, King Piccolo, and this Piccolo beside me. If Zenkai's worked as originally shown in canon, then he should have zipped past a battle power of 1,000 without too much effort. The fact that this body, through me, knows the powers we're going up against soon just makes me believe it all the more so. It may not have felt, say, Frisia's power, but such a looming threat doesn't need to be felt when it's so far beyond you that you cannot even fathom it. So my body growing stronger instinctively to that threat through Zenkai is the best idea I had going. To be honest, I hadn't thought I'd even get this strong. I thought I'd at best hit the 500 mark, but right now, I should be around the 1,000 mark, if not a little above. Humph, so that's it, huh? Piccolo grunted. I grunted right back. Now what the hell is bothering you? You're nothing like the Son Goku I know. And I know of him when he was in that exact form. That blast you shot off earlier had more than enough power packed into it to kill Raditz in one shot, so what the hell did you fire it off for? I can't have loose ends like you running around blowing up parts of my planet so willy-nilly when I plan to rule it soon. Did you know that Son Goku killed his grandfather when he transformed into a great ape? I asked suddenly. Piccolo remains silent. It's something all a Science can do as long as we have our tails and we get a good look at the full moon. It amplifies our powers by a maximum of 10 times. Piccolo grunted again. Interesting to know and something I'll definitely keep an eye out on Gohan for, he replied, but what's that got to do with anything? I can remember my mother and father sending me off to this planet, not to conquer it, but to be safe from the man that conquered even the Scion race, and I can remember the older brother who excitedly chattered to me about how his power had grown to overgive 100 and how he would make sure to train me up to be strong just like him so we could go on all the exciting missions together. I let that hang in the air for a moment. My parents are dead. My brother killed by near enough my own hands because of the original, and on top of that, the original, pitifully weak-minded as he is, stomped our grandfather to death because he forgot who he was and couldn't control himself as an Oozaru. I turned a narrowed glaring eye towards Piccolo, and finally brought up the true question that was bothering me. All my family is dead, but they aren't even really my family in the first place. I'm just a copy of Son Goku who remembers being Kakarot. I stated, my friends aren't even my friends, they're his friends. Even you are not my rival, but his. I have absolutely nothing in this world. What's the point of my existence? Really, there wasn't any need for Kakarot around. I already knew how things would turn out. And anything I do could just make things worse for everyone. Just because they were Goku's friends and not mine, didn't mean I didn't inherit the fondness he had for them. Bulma, Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, Kairatsu, Mr. Roshi, Launch, Popo, Kami, Puar, Korin, Yajirobe. I let loose a bitter chuckle. Honestly, Kami can be quite cruel, can't he? Piccolo, who had been silently listening to me, snorted, a fanged smirk appearing broadly on his face. Glad to see somebody besides me knows how much of a pain that fossil is, he chuckled. He kept chuckling for a few moments before it trailed off and he narrowed his eyes at me. As for everything else, get over it, you brat. I was in more or less the same position when I was born. And as you said, you are Kakarot, not Son Goku. And you're far stronger than he ever was at this point. There's no point to anybody's existence, you just reach out and grab what you can to make it worth it. So stop crying like a pitiful weakling and stand up. I can't have one of the main forces I'm gonna use to defend my planet moping around so pathetically. And with that said, a white aura burst out around him and he shot off into the air, leaving me sitting in the grass. Ha, I sighed. Really, getting a pep talk from Piccolo who hasn't even become friends with Gohan yet. What is the world coming to? But, I suppose in a sense, he had it just as bad. I mean, he didn't really lose anyone close to him when he was spawned from the late Demon King Piccolo, but he would have inherited what it felt like to die upon just being born, so it's not like I'm the only more or less clone who has it rough / ha. I really can't mope around, can I? It's infuriating that I'll just need to get over these feelings. Besides, do I really have any right to most of them? Like I said before, I'm not Son Goku. Either way, I feel a little bit better, and I get the feeling after learning about the Zenkai Piccolo is going to train Gohan harsher than ever. That might be a good thing too. Honestly, if I do stick around, I'm gonna have to smack some sense into Chi-Chi. She's not really got any right to spout the crap she does half the time about Gohan running off when she wasn't much older and without his insane power, and running off all the time as a child herself. That was the entire reason she met Goku after all. There's really nothing wrong with her wanting to keep him from fighting. He's a child after all, and despite how my stomach rolled at the thought of a powerful scion, even a child not fighting, I can understand where she's coming from. But at the same time, she needs to not be a harpy about everything and ease up on Gohan a little. Between her and the constant training, Gohan never got the chance to enjoy his childhood. It made my chest clench in anger when I thought about how raw Gohan got it. It was always his mistakes he got lambasted for, never what he helped achieve or achieved by himself. Gohan is my favorite person in the entire Dragon Ball universe. And I hated the treatment he got either from those around him, or even fans of canon. The only thing Gohan ever wanted in life was his wife, really. Come Super, Videl was possibly the best partner in the entire series, or at least on par with Bulma and 18. But even she started out harassing Gohan and making his everyday life kind of miserable when he started high school. If I stick around, I'll definitely do something for him. Especially, as weird as it sounds, since he's kind of partly my kid now. Honestly, I'd love to go visit him right now. Actually, there was a buzz of excitement that replaced my earlier melancholy at the thought of meeting Kid Gohan. But him and Piccolo becoming friends is something I don't want to get in the way of at all. That's one relationship I refuse to change at all, so I'll keep my distance for a while. Instead I'm not sure what I should do. I could go join the others on the lookout, but I've already done more training under Kami and Popo than they ever will. I've got enough weight on me to simulate Goku weighted clothing weighed down by King Kai's planet, and I'm not going to take 6 months to get to my destination and start training. I could just start off right now and find somewhere to train my ass off. Maybe I'll grab some of the ultra divine water. Actually, if it works anything like Guru's potential unlock, then I'm best leaving it till just before Vegeta and Nappa arrive. Training is a must. Even if I didn't want to, I need it to not end up dead. But one thing I don't have, that made the others in canon grow faster, is a sparring partner, or two. The stronger, the better. The best sparring partner power-wise would probably be Popo, but he's busy training the other maggots. Behind him it would be Tien, but his power is probably around 300 or so at best at the moment, so he wouldn't be much help. If only I had. Wait. My power is only around the 1,000 mark. And Scions come with easily grown minions with a power just slightly higher than mine. I've no idea where Raditz Pod is, and it's likely that what I wanted was detoyed by Gohan's rampage against my brother anyway. But there's one great thing about being Kakarot and Goku at the same time. I know where my own space pod is. A red aura flared around me, and I took off into the sky. A solution for me has formed. It took me a good 20 minutes to find it, and all things considered it wasn't even very far. Just a few miles away from where I could sense Piccolo and another much smaller, but steadily growing key which I assumed to be Gohan. At the very least, flying around and looking for it helped me get used to my weighted GI so much faster. Not that I expected any less, I'm way stronger than Goku was when he started training on King Kai's planet, and this should be about the same weight he had on him. Note to self. Increase the weight by double once it gets too easy to move. The white pod wasn't rusted at all, but was covered in layers of moss, vines and such. I burned it all away with a small key blast and pressed the door release button. And when it opened, I couldn't stop the grin that spread across my face. Because there's more than I bargained for. Black Scion armor with a yellow stomach area and shoulder pads. Black wrist guards and boots with yellow tinting. I entirely ignored the spandex panties, screw wearing that. But these are much cooler looking than the orange and blue GI just like Goku's that I'm wearing. These will be perfect to use when I fight Nappa and Vegeta. But the two treasures of my find were the green scouter and small little see-through bottle with two small green pill-like things. Cyberman. I couldn't stop the grin from spreading across my face. But first things first. I put the scouter on and read my own power quickly. I was curious to see where I stood. Beep beep, 1056. Damn! My power has practically tripled thanks to using TN to get a Zenkai. That's amazing. Now then, I hummed to myself. Putting the armor back in the pod, I lifted it up with one hand after closing the door. I had to take a moment to really just marvel at my insane strength, before getting a move on. Flying up, and ignoring the slight burn in my arm from the extra weight added onto me, I sat down on a clearing a few clicks away and set the pod down. Then I took the little see-through bottle and emptied the green little pills into my hand. Then I quickly planted both in the ground and stood back to watch the fireworks. It was kind of gross watching their bulging, cabbage-like heads bursting out of the ground, not gonna lie. But moments later, two Cybermen stood in front of me, eyeing me and awaiting instructions. You know they're ugly from a human standpoint. But kinda cute when I think how useful they'll be to me. I think I'll keep these guys around. Maybe they'll get stronger as well? I quickly read their battle powers with my scouter, and to both my expectations and satisfaction, both were resting at 1200. A decent little bit stronger than me. But at the same time, they only had their instinctive skills and power. They had none of the training I've inherited as Kakarot and a clone of Goku. First things first though, I pointed at the one on the right, from now on, you're Ichiji. I then pointed towards the one on the left, and you're Niji. I smirked in satisfaction when they merely nodded their heads obediently. Fantastic. It's like getting two dogs that are already fully trained and housebroken. Ah, wait. I don't have a house. I need to find somewhere to live. And I need cash. Just because I know how to live in the wild easily thanks to my memories from Goku doesn't mean I want to. Jordan was used to the finer things in life, like a bed, T.V. and the internet. And I don't need to constantly physically train to get benefits. I can train my ki just as well while doing other things. I wonder if the world's martial arts tournament is anytime soon. With Ichiji and Niji by my side, I can easily win first, second and third prize. That's like 15 million zeni if I remember right. Chapter 3. It's interesting to note that scouters have quite a few handy-dandy little kind of apps, and they aren't just mere communicators or used for scouting battle power. I mean, those are the main uses they have, but not the entirety. For one, they somehow know the universal calendar and even somehow automatically convert to the standard planet time zone. Talk about convenient. Also, why does the entire universe share the same calendar? Spooky. Although, sadly it seems like I won't be making any quick cash through the World Martial Arts Tournament. It takes place every 3 years, that I know, and Goku won it in age 756, on May 7th. And it's currently, age 761, October 22nd, 6:37 p.m. That means Hercule became the world champion just 2 years ago or so. If it takes place on May 7th again, I'll be able to compete in about 7 months or so. I'm definitely doing that. It's gonna be before Vegeta and Nappa arrive, and it'll be a quick and easy way to make money. Nobody else who can compete will be any trouble to beat by then, except maybe as a tiny possibility Piccolo, but he won't compete, he'll be too busy training Gohan. And I plan to be way stronger than Piccolo ever was around that point in the timeline. In fact, I'm hoping to reach around Vegeta's level. It shouldn't be too hard. If I train at the same intensity as the original, who after 6 months with King Kai jumped from around 400 to 8,000. Then surely, myself with 12 months and starting at over 1,000 should be able to at least reach double what he did? And then I can use the Ultra Divine Water and my remaining sense of being for another quick, cheating Zenkai like I did with Tien. Actually, there's no reason why I shouldn't be quite a bit stronger than Vegeta when he arrives. And I don't really care to keep canon as canon now that I think about it. Thanks to the knowledge provided by Jordan, I know so many ways to cheat to get stronger that it isn't even funny. The only real problem will be becoming a Super Saiyan. I've already checked, I don't have a tingly back. Fucking hacker caulifla. Your boobs are amazing, but you are so hacks lady. But anyway, why did the date and time matter? It didn't really. It just gave me a timeline in which to get stronger in and to move up in living arrangements. I could probably have went to Bulma and she would have been able to give me a Dino Cap house or something, but in the end I didn't really want to bother with any of the originals gang right now. So instead, I grabbed my pod and with my 2 green cabbage-headed pets, I flew over to Grandpa's house. The original hadn't been here in a while, so it had been a bit dusty. But I knew all the best places to hunt for food around here and there was even a bed. Taking a shit in the woods was a pain though. Jordan's leisurely lifestyle had really soured me to living in the woods, but for the last week or so, I've been dealing with it. Ha! Compressing my red aura around my fist, I physically punched the large incoming purple beam of energy that raced towards me back towards the one who fired it, Niji. With a squawk, the plant monster jumped out of the way in a panic. But I had no time to rest. I sensed the other coming at me at a raging pace from behind. I used a burst of my power from my feet to fire off enough momentum to spin me around, narrowly missing the claw strike aimed for my back and at the same time, cloaking my knee in a compressed red aura just as I had done before with my fist. As soon as I came around after narrowly avoiding the claw strike, I buried my knee into the base of Ichiji's spin and sent him spiraling downwards with enough force to plow through the ground and leave a decently large crater. Niji was quick to hurry to his side and dig out the downed Cybermen. Looking them over, I noted they were scuffed up pretty badly. They were born to fight, but I was kind of fond of these guys so I didn't really want to continue beating them up like nobody's business. They took it without complaint, but I felt like an abusive pet owner after I got used to the weight on my body and started to rapidly overtake them in fights the past week. "All right guys," I called down to them, descending towards the ground in the direction of Grandpa's house. "Let's call it a day for sparring and get some grub. I already caught a bunch of giant fish earlier and left them cooking while we sparred. I tended to only spar with these guys for about an hour, twice 3 times a day. Once before breakfast, once before lunch and once before dinner, which was about now. Ichiji and Niji followed me along. Albeit, a bit more gingerly than I did myself. The extra weight on me made my hits all the harder after all. It took but a few moments for us to reach the cooking pit outside our base of operations, where 4 giant fish were cooking over a fire. The 2 Cybermen didn't wait for my approval to start eating, instead landing beside one giant fish and splitting it between them. I wasn't sure what Cybermen ate, or even their lifespan, but they didn't seem to mind fish, or any other kind of meat, or fruit, or anything I found really. They pretty much ate anything. Although, in nowhere near the quantities I had to eat. I ate 3 of these giant fish at least on more than one occasion and still felt like I could go 10 more without problem. It was actually quite disconcerting. Still, this week has shown rather remarkable results. For one, it's possible for Cybermen to get stronger and they've grown steadily. I looked towards Ichiji, whom I had painted a red line down below his right eye to make him differ from his brother, and tapped my scouter. Beep beep, 1267. Then I done the same with Niji, who like his brother had a colored line painted below his right eye, although for him, it was blue. Beep beep, 1254. Ichiji was more of an aggressive kind of guy, I'd learned quickly, while Niji was more conservative and submissive. More cautious as well, and he took to sensing and manipulating his ki much faster than Ichiji, whom had trouble sitting around for long without fidgeting about and finding something physical to do. Honestly, I wish I could give him a fidget spinner or something. But he'd probably just break it even if he had one. Still, they were both very talented in any aspect of fighting. They'd even quickly learned to mimic my stances and use them to their own advantage, though they still favored claw strikes with their clawed hands and feet regardless. And it only took a few days for them to get basic ki sensing and manipulation down. But then, they were born only to fight and instinctively knew how to use their power from birth, so I shouldn't be too surprised. Lamentably, they can't talk either, so I'm a bit hard up for some conversation right now. My own power and fighting style had exploded rapidly. While fighting, I'd noticed I had a tendency to favor my knees and elbows after attacking for a continuous attack. It felt like the muscle memory of Jordan seeping through into my fighting, and my style had turned into a mishmash of the turtle style and Muay Thai. One awesome little thing I've learned is that compressing ki to a fine point and attacking the same way as a Muay Thai user was great for breaking through ki defenses. It was like a physical spear, along the same lines of compressed beams like the special beam cannon or death beam, only layered over my physical body and much quicker to use. My power exploded though. I honestly didn't expect such a massive increase already. But then, this is basically just training at 10 times gravity all day long for a week straight, isn't it? Well, actually 10 times Earth's gravity, on the weights Goku used when training with King Kai. And with my Saiyan body I really shouldn't be surprised. In a week, my power had risen to a staggering 1,632. It was just after I finished my third giant fish and was lamenting that I had none left and was deciding or not if I should go catch a few more, that I felt it. A rising ki in the distance and not one I'm really all that familiar with. It was powerful, kind of, in comparison to the majority of the weaklings on this planet. About up there with Kaiowatsu, no actually a bit higher, but a decent bit lower than Yamcha's from what I could feel right now from those twits on the lookout. Even down here I could feel them without much trouble, and pinpoint who was strongest by rank. Tien was followed by Krillin, with a small gap between them, but not too substantial. No surprise there. Krillin was probably even more talented than Tien. The only reason Tien was ahead of him was because he was a much harder worker, not that Krillin didn't work hard, but Tien worked harder than any of the other humans by a decent margin. Yamcha lingered a decent bit behind Krillin, followed by Kaiowatsu and then Yajirobe. Only Tien was closing in on the kind of power the original and Piccolo were at during the fight with Raditz though. Granted, it had only been like 2 weeks or so since the original died, so it's kind of a decent increase I guess. They've all jumped up a decent 100 in battle power from what I can estimate by feeling them out and comparing their previous selves to the original who had a battle power of 416 when he fought Raditz and myself who was in the 350 range the moment I woke up. Tien was actually just slightly stronger than myself when I woke up. So who was this power? It felt kind of familiar, but not to the point where it was somebody I generally bothered to keep track of. Probably an ingrained habit I inherited from the original. I frowned when I felt a minuscule power, that of an average human right beside the familiar power disappear. No doubt about it, they'd been killed. Looking in the direction of the power, I activated my scouter. Beep beep, 261. Interesting, I hummed thoughtfully, whoever this person is, they're decently stronger than Master Roshi. I wonder who it is, and why they just killed some random weakling. Curiosity getting the better of me, I tossed the fishbone I was nibbling on aside and stood up. Continue your usual training routine after dinner and then rest, I'll be back in a little while, I told my pet Cybermen who were just curled up around the fire, enjoying the warmth. With that said, I flew up into the sky and sped towards where I felt the mysterious power. I had to change course moments later when it suddenly and rapidly left the position it was in before and rushed somewhere else. Stopping in mid-air, I instead of following it on a wild goose chase, was content to wait until it stopped wherever it was going. It took over an hour before whoever it was reached their destination. I honestly got so bored waiting on them I started shadowboxing in the air. I trained myself mid-air for a total of 1 hour and 13 minutes according to my scouter. Such a nifty device, it's like a watch I don't even need to look at my wrist all the time with. Honestly, I was really starting to love this thing. It had an alarm clock, timer, a camera and video recorder and even tuned into a freaking radio station that played music for the entire Planet Trade Organization. I'm so gonna see if Bulma can connect this baby to the internet one day. That'll be awesome. Now that the power was stationary though. Following it was child's play. Heck, following it while training had been a little bit of a challenge and I had enjoyed it a bit as extra training. My whole body burned with torn muscle through rigorous training, but all I could really do was take a sense of pleasure in the burn. Being a Scion was like being part masochist, I think. Not that I'm complaining, it makes the training way easier to deal with. Unlike the person I was following, it didn't take me anywhere near as long to reach the same destination. Well, mostly because I was actually closer than they were, but still. With my max speed, it only took about 10 minutes to get there. And to my surprise, the power led me to a rather large pristine white dome-like mansion. It was huge too, and right in the middle of nowhere. It was like Bulma had taken Capsule Corp and a Dino Cap and let it out in some remote location. The hell? I said myself stupidly. Why would anyone build a mansion out here? Is this some kind of early Dragon Ball movie villain I've forgotten or something? Walking up to Dome Mansion, building, thing. I didn't even bother ringing the doorbell, instead I punched it clear off its hinges and swaggered on in. Waiting is for fodder and my time isn't to be wasted. Such a dick move, I know, but I don't care either. This guy is a murderer anyway. Following where I felt the power, I whistled at the decor. It all pristine white everywhere I walked, the walls, the ceilings and floor that is. I passed by a massive and lovely living room with a massive TV and large semicircular couch, but that was all I really saw of that room before passing on. It seemed whoever the power belonged to either didn't hear me punch my way in and couldn't sense power levels either. Or is that right? They may have sensed my power and be suppressing their own and think they can take me regardless. Excitement filled my stomach for a moment at the thought of a strong opponent just as I reached the room where I could sense them. Only for my excitement to die a horrible, disappointing death when I saw a tall thin man with a metallic head laying on the bed inside the bedroom I just entered, snoozing away peacefully. Mercenary freaking Tao. Seriously. I hissed. I got all curious for freaking Tao Pai Pai? Fuck off. Why wasn't this cunt already dead? He's a freaking assassin and murderer, so why did they others not clean him up ages ago? I sneered in contempt at the sleeping weakling. Contempt filled me for a moment, and I couldn't stop myself from raising my hand, an orb of crimson key sparking into life in my palm. The world will be a better place without trash like you, I said in contempt and shot the key blast at him. It was over in an instant. He, along with his bed, were erased from existence. The only leftovers being some scorch marks left on the fluffy white carpet I realized I was standing on. And I just realized something else. Tao was an assassin, so it's unlikely he ever told anyone where he lived, except maybe his brother Shin, but if I saw that cunt I'd kill him as well, so no worries there. This is pretty much a free mansion up for grabs. Score. So, I've got a kick-ass house now. And 2 minions? Yeah, I'll go with minions I suppose. The question is, with my new house, which is stocked up with the latest appliances and food, and my 2 pets/minions/sparring partner, what should I do now? I mean, as far as the larder goes, Tao had kept himself stocked up pretty well. Enough to last a few months even with my appetite. Quite the meticulous guy, if it weren't for the fact that he didn't even notice me when I boldly just swaggered into his house and killed him like a gnat. Actually, should I feel bad about that? Because I don't. Tao was a piece of trash who murdered people for a living. I'm not gonna lose any sleep over him. The original might agonize over it though, he was soft like that. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Sitting on the roof of the Dome Mansion while Ichiji slept on the couch and Niji tried to repair the door, I stared up at the darkening sky above me and sighed. The hell should I do now? I'm 13 years old with the pre-programmed knowledge of an alien warrior baby. 13 years of knowledge of a strange boy who grew up in the woods who then went on to save the world from a demon king, and a full-grown man that had completed school and actually worked jobs before. No matter how you look at it, my head is weird mishmash of things that really don't fit together well. And in a year, a midget with the power to blow up the planet is gonna come looking for 7 mystical balls that jizz out a dragon when gathered together and grant any one wish. What is my life right now? I had to hold back the urge to blow some shit up with a key blaster too. Piccolo will come and grouch at me again, probably. But honestly, I just don't know what to do. Training to get stronger is all well and good. But a year of doing nothing but that will be mind-numbing as hell. I'm not as simple a person as the original who could literally lose track of the years he could stay in the woods training. I need the internet. I need video games. I want to check out girls. Most of all, I freaking want to live. I don't want to waste away my life like the original did. All things considered, he's pretty much a bum fighter for the most part. He literally has spent maybe 10 years at most of his first son's life with him by time Pan is born in canon. I don't want to be like that. I don't even really want kids, but if I had them, I don't want to end up like that, traipsing off to who knows where at the first sign of a new rising power level. Honestly, I should go take care of some things in advance. Like Willow, he's got a base somewhere in the Antarctic or something like that. I could just go blow him the fuck up before he starts anything. Or hell, I could go find Jero right now and put him down before he ever activates an android. Though, that would leave the world without Baiteen and the delicious Android 21. Ah, am I really letting my dick influence the fate of the world? I lamented to myself with a sigh. Because honestly, I kind of am. I mean, yeah, the androids and the like are needed to help get the others stronger. They need to face threats and get strong enough. The big endgame with the Tournament of Power kind of relies on everyone being strong. I know a ton of ways to cheat to gain strength. But I'm not going to delude myself into thinking I could win that by myself. I could maybe, on a long shot, beat up to Bu myself. With what I know, it isn't too out of the realm of possibilities. Honestly speaking, if my hopes are on point, I'm expecting to break 50,000 as far as battle power counts by time Vegeta gets here, and that's lowballing as far as I'm concerned. By then, more Senzu beans should be ready and I can readily abuse the Zenkai again. I can't remember how many Senzu's Koren grows by time Vegeta and Nappa arrive, but I'm sure there should be around 5. I could just take them all myself and clean up the 2 Saiyan invaders myself. Fuck canon. Then I could abuse the Zenkais myself, 5 times over. But Piccolo needs to die for the others to really want to go to Namek. So, maybe I should hang back a bit and let the others fight first? If I time it right, and take my ship to Bulma and her dad and get a ship like the originals in canon. Then I could make that trip in that ship with Krillin and more importantly Gohan. If Gohan is stronger than in canon by time Vegeta arrives, which I expect with what I told Piccolo when I trained with him under intense gravity, and then he got his power unlocked by Guru and abused a Zenkai at least once with Dend, he could easily break 1,000,000 in battle level before the bulk of the fight with Frieza begins. And I myself should be far higher than that. Regardless, whether it is me, the original or even Gohan, one of us needs to become a Super Saiyan by the time the Namek saga concludes. Otherwise, my meta-knowledge will be for shit and threats like Cooler, Hatchak and shit could pop up at any time and WD have no way of fighting them off. Damn Caulifla and her boobs and her tingly back. Why couldn't I become a Super Saiyan that freaking easy? It'd be freaking easy street for the next 5 years or so if I could turn like she could. Sitting around here won't do me any good, I sighed in annoyance and stood up, jumping off the top of the dome mansion and easily landing on the ground a moment later. I should just take one idea on the side and run with it. There's only really 2 ideas I can run with right now. I'll put the disposing of villains on the back burner for now. But that leaves me with taking my pod to Bulma. Not gonna lie, Bulma is hot and I'm a teenager, I wouldn't mind using her for some free fan service. Honestly, the amount of times she ends up losing her clothes, can anyone really blame me? The other idea is... I charged an orb of red ki in my palm and fired it into the air. If it falls right, I'll take my pod to Bulma, I said to myself, watching the red streak shoot high up into the sky, for literally miles. Wow, my eyesight is way better than I imagined. Saiyan bodies are so hacks, man. If it falls to the left, I'll go steal Tien and make him my sparring buddy. I figure I can beat Tien into a stronger shape than canon. And he could get even stronger if he learned Master Roshi's buff, pump up form. That thing's gives like a 1.5 times multiplier, I think. Wait, can't I just learn that as well? That wraps up this part of What If Reborn is a Goku clone. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.